Ever since the late 90s, early 2000s, video game prices have seen little price increases, with Pokemon games going from $40 during the Game Boy Advance era to 60 with the Switch. So only $20 increase in the span of 20 years. But it seems that this is about to change since video game prices already went up to $70 only 2 years ago. Only so soon that the last mainline Pokemon game was $60, and it seems that it's going up again now after Super Mario Kart World new $80 price tag. So when Legend ZA comes out, and it will certainly be $70 on the Switch too, will the next gen Pokemon game be $80? And if that happens, or will that happen, will this affect the next gen 10 game sales significantly? Okay, let's go back to the days of the Game Boy Color and the GameCube, a time when video game prices went down after the standardization of the CDs. You see, before this, video game prices were all over the place, but the market gained sanity after the PlayStation and its introduction of the CDs, an attempt by Sony to access a market that was already taken by two companies. And a successful attempt it was. The Gen 3 Pokemon games that were on the Game Boy Advance were fairly priced at $40 or $35, since this was a time when retailers had a lot of power. So it could be that your local retailer was selling at a higher price. And it was a time when parents were not from a generation that grew up with video games yet. So buying a video game was something that kids had to push for. Also, these price drops were recent, and video game players needed to have a lot of savings to get a video game back then, just like a couple of years before that point. So it was likely that some parents were not aware of the price drops, which would make them more hesitant. But when the DS came out in 2006, video games were more normal and parents were now familiar with them. And yet, Pokemon games, like most other Nintendo games, were still at $40, no change, which made them even more accessible. And as time passed, the DS became more and more successful, with some people buying it for more than just video games. A lot of people bought the DS just for Sudoku. Older Pokemon fans consider this era to be the best Pokemon era, with some of the most beloved Pokemon games taking place in this era. And even when the 3DS dropped, the prices still didn't change, and Pokemon X and Y were the same price as Pokemon Black and White, a game that was a generation earlier. This is insane, because it means that for over a decade, Nintendo games, including Pokemon, saw little to no price increases. But this would change very quickly. In fact, Pokemon video game prices went up to $60 with Sun and Moon, when X and Y, the generation before it, was only $40. But to be honest, it was definitely worth the price increase, with Gen 7 being way better than anything that came out before it. And then for almost another decade, Pokemon games stayed at $60 with no changes, unless Legend ZA changes that, which it will probably do, at least on the Switch too. So if we accept that the new standard is $70 for AAA video games now, and maybe $80 is next, is it going to be worth it? Will Gen 10, that is allegedly taking place in a Greece-inspired region, worth the $80? Well, we can only assume since the game isn't out yet, but let's see what we have already and think if what we already have is worth its price. As I mentioned before, the Gen 7 games, Sun and Moon, were the first Pokemon games to be priced at the standard $60. And in my opinion, it's definitely worth it. Everything from the new mechanics, to the rivals, to the region, was an upgrade from older games and it pushed the console to its absolute limits. So Gen 7, yeah, it was worth it. Okay, what about Gen 8? The first generation in the Switch? Well, I didn't play this yet, but from what I hear from my friends, outside of online controversies that plagued, to be no, that plagues every Pokemon game that comes out at the start, it seems that it is worth the $60 price tag, even with all the controversies on the National Dex thing, exit, whatever. And oh boy, the big Gen 9, the most broken video game on the Switch according to players. It looks like it is, but without the glitches, so we assume that the Switch 2 version will have all that fixed and it will come with a higher graphic quality. Then yeah, I think it is worth it. So we can safely assume that Legend ZA will be $70 on the Switch 2, as this is the new standard. Does that mean that Gen 10 will be 70? Or is it going to be going with the Super Mario Kart World route and have the premium price of $80? Okay, I know everyone is focusing on Super Mario Kart World price now, but I fear that a year from now, $80 might not be the worst. Now listen, if Gen 10 Pokemon is priced at $80, I will still buy it. Pokemon is Pokemon for me. I know what I'm getting at the minimum standard. I think that a year from now, after GTA 6 comes out, $80 will no longer be controversial, as GTA 6 is most likely will be priced at $99.99, thus cementing the standard of the divide of video game pricing, with premium AAA games being $99.99 and average AAA games being $80, and I think this might be an unescapable future. And Pokemon might not be the only franchise to do this. As of right now, $80 will be for system sellers, which Super Mario Kart games are, and so are Zelda games now. And Pokemon does fit this category, since many people purchase Nintendo consoles just to play Pokemon games. So if the next Zelda game comes out before Gen 10, and if it's priced at $80, then yes, Gen 10 will definitely be $80. But right now, we can just speculate and assume that it's going to be just $70 like Donkey Kong, or hope so. Well, that's me speculating. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, like and subscribe, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.